What makes a villain super?
Presentation.
Exactly. Being a villain is about the theatrics, or being a supervillain is about the theatrics. Any old schmuck can go and rob a bank, but it takes a true artist to do it while putting on an AC/DC concert.
And according to the film Megamind, it also requires an 82-step plan.
Oh, absolutely. One of the earliest
those...
one of the earliest steps involves picking out the right cape to strike fear in the hearts of your enemies.
That's one of the things. Megamind is such a great film because it's all about the little details, and one of those details is the headlines at the start of the movie. I actually paused while watching just to make sure I was reading the headlines. And one of the headlines was, Megamind uses a 82-step plan, still loses.
Yeah, because, well, it's not about winning. It's about the
Providing
theatrics.
entertainment.
Exactly.
It's all about it's basically wrestling on a larger scale.
Exactly. So before we dive into the meat of the movie, I do want to discuss. I did want to discuss the advertising for the movie because it had one of the better methods of advertising.
I do want to say something real quick
Yes?
on the advertising, because that was something I was interested in. I actually went through and watched several old trailers about the movie.
Yeah, it's all from within the first 15 minutes.
They do give away the twist. They
They do?
Yeah, they give away the twist that the villain wins. They also show scenes of Hal in some of the trailer shots.
Oh, none of the ones I saw.
Yeah, definitely. These were I looked through a few. They briefly show Hal / Titan in like one of the. I don't know how recent this ad is because like the ad was uploaded in 2018, but it seemed to be one of those ones that was shot for theaters.
Oh, yeah.
So that could have just been like one of the DVD releases. They cut out the ending where it says "now on DVD."
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't be surprised at that. But in at least the majority of the advertising, they mostly showed clips from the first 15 minutes as to not give away the twist that Metro Man, the hero, dies, allegedly.
Most of the posters. It's most of the posters that do that. But the earliest trailer from Comic-Con in 2008, I believe, does show Metro Man dying.
Oh. Yeah, okay.
So, mostly the posters. So if you only looked at posters for the film, you would get a completely different movie going on in your head.
Yeah. But yeah.
TV ads probably were much better about it, too.
Yeah, like, because I didn't really watch many movies in the theaters back in, like, 2008, 2009. Like, I didn't, because, you know, I was, like, 13 or 14.
That's fair.
But yeah, so, diving into it, the movie is about morality.
It's a Superman parody.
Oh, yeah.
It opens with a Superman parody, and a really good one.
Yeah.
A lot of Superman parodies are like, oh, Superman's actually secretly a misogynistic jerk, and he's actually doing horrible things to Lois Lane. Nah, this one's sort of like it's a Superman parody that, what if Lex Luthor won? What would he do with his life? Everybody knows that Lex Luthor proper...
Yeah,
kind of does nothing with his life.
Yeah, there was this time. There was that time when Superman like left to go on Krypton for like 3 years, or go check out the remains of Krypton because he heard that something about it. For like 3 years he was gone, and then he comes back, and Lex had done jack all, and he was like, "Well, Lex Luthor, you said you could fix the world if I wasn't here. Why didn't you do it?"
You're thinking about All-Star Superman, and in that one, it's that Superman is dying, not Superman off to Krypton.
No,
Superman Returns.
Oh yeah, I'm probably jumbling a bunch. By the way, that's the one you're talking about is the one where Lex ends up getting Superman powers, right? And then
Yes,
can
also
see
Superman.
every atom.
Yes, and he comes to a revelation.
That was a good scene.
In Superman Returns, the one you were thinking about where he goes to Krypton, that one is that Lex Luthor is in jail.
Oh, okay.
So Lex is in jail in that one, and also we don't talk about that film.
Yeah, that's the really bad one where he tried to make an island of kryptonite to sell real estate, right?
Yes. Also, it's by the guy who made the X-Men movies that we don't talk about for very, very obvious reasons.
Yeah. Okay. Well, either way, getting back to this one, one of the things I really like, one of the details is Megamind's planet was it was like
The first to go into the black hole.
well, no, it was called like Mega Planet or something like that.
Really, I didn't know that.
And Metro's was Metro Planet
Really,
or something like that. I can't. I'd have to look up the actual details of what it was called.
I think that's just the script because they're like, look, we don't actually have names for these
Yeah.
planets. Let's just call them Mega Planet and Metro Planet.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about that briefly because I was watching that and I had a thought process.
Hmm.
So, Megamind's planet. I almost said Mega Man, but that's gonna be the thing I'm gonna be fighting the entire time.
God, yeah.
So, the Megamind's planet is closest to the black hole, whereas the Metro Man's planet is a bit further away. So they have more time to work on their rocket, whereas like Megamind's people are probably like panicking, trying to figure things out at the last minute.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Which
By the way, I
is-
just looked up. It is Mega Planet and Metro Planet.
That's fair. I don't even think they had the terms for Metropolis. Yeah, so that's why when you see like Megamind's,
Metrocity?
that's whenever you see like Megamind's ship, it's like really crappy and rushed together and like zero commodities.
Yeah.
Whereas Metro Man's pod is like decked out, beautiful. Everybody's like, it's slick and pretty, and it's like, oh, that's because they probably had more time. And if they had all these powers, and it's not like a Superman scenario where they didn't have the powers on their home planet, then that means, I'm just gonna say it right here. I think they might have been enslaving Megamind's people.
I think they probably
They could have been just been at war. Who knows? But
maybe.
Like,
I mean,
got,
there was
like,
also the third planet that was already like mostly sucked in, which is commonly theorized to be Minion's planet.
Oh, that could be amusing. Yeah.
Yeah. So it could.
I must have missed that one.
It's like already mostly destroyed by the time the thing
fair.
starts. But yeah,
Maybe they were like warring. Who knows? And the third planet was just sort of like the Minion homeworld.
yeah, just sends Minion. I don't know. But so I have written down the first quote of the first quote I have written down is from Metro Man's parents, and it's our baby is flying, only the best for you. And it really goes. It's really hammers in that short instance that Metro Man's parents probably neglected him. Considering
the dad definitely.
yeah, I think that probably contributed to his desire for attention early on.
I don't think he has a desire for attention. Okay, let me.
In the school, he
explain my
definitely
thought.
does.
I think it's okay. He definitely does,
Yeah.
and he definitely does like the attention. But I think it's that he defined himself early on as being the guy with the powers, and that always comes with attention. So outside of the powers,
Who is he?
yeah, who was he? We don't know who he was without the powers. I introduced him with the powers. He was always better. Who is he as a person? And then we figure it out, and it's like
Music.
kind of disappointing.
But also, like,
Makes sense.
yeah, and it really does, like, going back and thinking about it, people really do only kind of like him for his powers. Like, he was flying and the kids around, or he was flying and doing like juggling stuff, and like, yeah, that's impressive. But like, I'm not convinced that any of the kids actually liked him for him.
I mean, here's the thing: we're
Kids are
introduced to
assholes.
him in the main scene with him. So when we get to the present day, or at least present day of like 2010, where the movie came out,
Yeah.
we're introduced to him walking on water.
Yeah,
which is
Jesus.
yeah.
Another Superman reference.
Yeah. That's one of those ways to very quickly make it clear to an audience there's not much humility going on here.
Oh, absolutely. And also, like, it is also a really good way to establish that a character is, like, a character is seen as above humans, you know?
Yeah.
Like how in going back to when Lex Luthor had Superman powers, when he flew, he walked on air in order to fly, which he didn't need to, but it was a very interesting detail, and it's a similar kind of thing as that. Like, he always walked like a few feet above everyone else whenever he was right before he had his revelation.
It's all about the details, which
Yeah.
Megamind is full of them,
Oh,
as we've mentioned earlier.
Absolutely. Like the pacifier being the power source for pretty much most of his inventions.
Yeah. And then there's the one that I really like. It's the quotes. Who would I be without you? As said by Metro Man to the people of Metro City. And you can definitely tell at that moment, he actually doesn't know who he would be without them.
Yeah. And
if he wasn't this role, if he wasn't this person, who would he be? What would he do?
Yeah. And skipping forward a bit to their witty banter, very briefly, you can actually see him appear for a frame, which is foreshadowing, and definitely one of those things that increase the rewatchability, since when you watch it again, you know the twist, and you also know the scene when he does that. It gives you the mindset to look out for that clue, and you see it, and it's like, oh, hey, there's that. But also, that is like only like 2 minutes after he was asking who would he be without the people.
Yeah.
And
it's very quick.
Yeah. And it's, again, the details. There's so much to unload. And I think that one of the core aspects, the core themes of the movie is integrity, but in the sense of who you are when no one's around, you know?
Yeah.
I mean it like that. Not integrity in the general sense of sticking by your guns or whatever. Integrity as in being, like, seeing who someone really is when no one's watching, when no eyes are on them.
Yeah. So it really does lean into the fact that Megamind uses a disguise thing for most of it.
Yeah.
But
she's not going to find out. That's why it's called lying.
They will always find out.
Absolutely. Okay.
Well, not always. Not always.
I know that the liar revealed always gets a lot of flack in movies, but I kind of like it as a trope.
I think it's a good trope.
When executed well.
When executed well. When done in like the last minute, and it's like a minute of like whatever.
Yeah.
Chicken Run, an otherwise great film, has a good liar reveal. Because it completely recontextualizes like a good chunk of the movie.
Oh yeah.
But when it's like something where it's like, oh, the liar reveal, it's so unnecessary, that's where it gets flack.
Yeah, I think that one movie that did the liar reveal really bad is Illumination's Sing. Because also, there was no need to have a liar reveal. It could have easily been fixed if he was just like, oh, obviously the money's not going to be in a chest. That's a prop. It'd be in the bank. something that would make a reasonable amount of sense, and also still a lie, but also a lie that is extremely believable.
Yep. So back to Megamind.
Yes, back to Megamind.
Let's focus on Metro Man a bit longer with the Metro Man Museum. How cool is that?
Yeah.
That entire building appears for only like 1 to maybe 10 minutes tops if you really stretch it. But it is filled with so many details.
Absolutely.
Like, I would go to that museum. I'm
always a big fan of like museums for superheroes in universes where superheroes exist. Like in Winter Soldier, there was the Captain America and the Howling Commandos section of the World War II museum.
That was the coolest. I would go to that.
Yeah, and it's like, if I existed in a superhero universe and I was a superhero, I would absolutely go check out my own museum to try and get an idea of what people think about me,
If I was a supervillain, I would go to my supervillain museum and be like, what do people think about me?
Well, you'd have to go to the superhero museum and go to the villains exhibits.
Yeah, fair enough. I'd see, they managed to keep my super suit where I
So that's where
vaporized.
My giant penny went.
Oh, that's where my robot dinosaur is now.
Yeah. Honestly, the Batcave is basically a supervillain museum.
The Batcave is so cool.
I love the Batcave, but
I've always been disappointed with the movies because the movies always make it like just cave.
Yeah. They don't put in the trophies of his victories. The closest we got was in fucking Justice League, and that's because he had a glass case holding Robin's suit.
That's a holdover from Batman v Superman.
Yeah, but that is the closest we got to having a trophy room of his various captures. But yeah,
admittedly, makes sense since they probably pulled a lot from like Batman Beyond for that.
Yeah, but
it had a very Batman Beyond feel.
Yeah. Oh, but back to sorry, it's hard to talk about a superhero movie without referencing other superhero movies, because this thing takes a lot of inspiration from some of the best superhero stuff, and it is clearly made by people who are big fans of the superhero genre. You can always tell when a satire is made by someone who really cares about the thing they're making fun of,
because they get all of the really good references.
Yeah.
Like a very shallow parody will always be something like
Epic Movie.
But then you get something that actually understands what it's parodying, and they're like, yeah, why do superheroes wear costumes like that? What is the wash cycle dry clean only for a Titan's costume?
Exactly. It's again tiny details.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this one is such an interesting universe of superheroes and supervillains, because like, one of the most interesting parts is that the Metro Man has been doing his Metro Man thing so long that the people do not know how to handle crime.
Megamind without him.
Yeah, not just Megamind, crime in general without Metro Man. Because the cops surrender immediately after, like almost immediately after Megamind gets control.
It's like they say in Stardust, reputation is what really is king.
Exactly.
And Megamind has the reputation. He doesn't actually kill anybody. I don't think I've seen Megamind kill anybody in any single scene.
Yeah,
like
even
Roxanne Ritchie. She's so confident she's going to be fine at the end of the story that she's not even sweating when the machine gun comes out.
Exactly. And speaking of Roxanne Ritchie, one of the most interesting things to note is the reaction she has when being captured by Megamind compared to when she's captured by Titan. Because she is calm. She's been through this so many times. She knows Megamind isn't going to hurt her.
She
and
knows why she's there.
yeah,
She
it's
knows
the
she'll be released.
theatrics. She knows it's
Yeah.
all pure theater, but when she's in the grasps of Titan, she is absolutely terrified because just as she knows who Megamind is, she knows who Hal is. She knows is very dangerous if he has any kind of power. Because we should definitely talk about Hal. He is
We'll talk about Hal in a bit. We'll talk about Hal in a bit.
yes.
We'll save him for a bit later because I do want to talk about Roxanne Ritchie a bit more.
Yes, she is.
So Roxanne Ritchie is set up to be the Lois Lane pretty much immediately. You see her; they don't even mention that she's the Lois Lane, but you look at her and you know she's the Lois Lane.
Yeah, she has that kind of design. Even without the like the microphone and the cameraman, you can tell just from her design that she is a reporter. And because of the Superman origin story we were given for Metro Man, that primes us to correlate. Oh, a female reporter. Obviously, that's going to be the love interest for Metro Man. And the best part is they weren't even dating. They weren't actual. Like, it was purely. They were co-workers in the same kind of game that Megamind. Yeah, they're all part of the same theater, and they put on the show of. But in reality, they're just friends.
Yeah, and they show like early on where like Roxanne Ritchie's giving these really nice speeches about Metro Man, and once you realize that she really wasn't interested in him in that way, it kind of does recontextualize like, oh, she's just a writer.
Yeah,
writers don't need to write from the heart all the time.
Yeah, no, she's writing what people want to hear.
Yeah. His heart is an ocean within an even larger ocean.
Yeah.
And then Hal immediately goes, oh, this crap they make you read. And he's like, I wrote it. And he's like, oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah. And
he really is the disingenuous suck up.
Yeah. He's a nice guy, TM.
Yes, he is exactly a nice guy in TM. TM1.
Yeah.
So the worst kind of TM.
Yeah.
It's cut.
So, if
that's HMs.
Yeah. But yeah, Roxanne Ritchie is such a fantastic character. It's such a shame she turned to villainy after her father died trying to dial heroes. It's a incredible
evil endeavor.
Yeah, Evelyn Dever. God, that was such a stupid twist and a stupid motivation, and goddamn, she looks so much like Roxanne.
There's a great scene. Okay, I want to touch on a lot of the Roxanne stuff first.
Yes.
Front load with that.
Yes.
So Roxanne has a great scene where she and Megamind, who is disguised at this point in the film,
Bernard,
are riding through the park, and she's like, "Oh, the park's all ruined." And Megamind, without even needing to be prompted further than that, immediately cleans it up. And Megamind's like, "Oh, why are you doing this? This isn't even." He's like, "Well, if I want to march my armies through the streets, I don't want them marching through trash."
He finds a pragmatic reason to do the thing he wants to do while still keeping up his reputation of being evil.
Yeah. And they do a bunch of that, and it's like a very sweet way to show that he's
listening.
He listens, he cares.
Yeah.
And
he actually listens to what she wants, which is a stark contrast to Hal.
Yeah. And you get to like the big part of the movie where they kiss in the restaurant, and it's so dramatic. The liar's revealed.
Yeah, it's a really good liar reveal.
The rain, and she's like, "What was the point of all this? Why did you trick me?" And she realizes
he didn't.
He wasn't.
He actually
did fall for her. He did fall for her. Yeah, he was still lying about his identity and whatnot, which is creepy as all get out. Don't do that, people.
Yeah.
But it is legitimately
heartbreaking.
A heartbreaking moment, as well as a sort of beautiful one, because she asks, let me check my notes. Did you think I'd... No, that's... did you think I'd ever be with you? And he replies, no. It is so heartbreaking because she still views him as the villain. His reputation is that strong.
Yeah.
But what evil has he done since killing Metro Man?
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, that is something villainous.
Yeah. But he and she both know that Metro Man wasn't supposed to die.
Yeah. They were both surprised. She knew. She didn't think he'd actually do it.
Yeah, and neither did he.
Yeah. So she realizes, I guess, in that moment that
he's not evil, he's just playing evil.
Yeah. And you judge based on actions.
Yeah.
And there's a great scene. He's like, well, isn't that a bit harsh?
So, one thing I do want to touch up on the Bernard disguise specifically is there's some old philosophy about, like, anonymity is the best way to see who someone really is. And
like
it's
internet.
Yeah, it's something we see every day in the internet. I've been on Tumblr for it'll be 10 years by the time this is posted. I'll have been on Tumblr for 10 years. I've gotten plenty of death threats from random anons in my inbox, and I know it's always the go-to to be like, oh, they're just living in their mom's basement and they're unwashed, and you know, they're the kinds of people who would, like, have their ass showing at a Magic the Gathering tournament, you know, that kind of stereotype. But in reality, those people are probably just present themselves as regular people in the regular life. You know, they're probably someone who, like, I don't know, a pizza delivery driver, or fucking maybe like high school student, I don't fucking know, but
congressman perhaps.
Yeah, no, it's the entire point of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, because the original book wasn't a matter of split personality. It was just that Hyde was an identity he could take on to do the things that he couldn't risk his reputation handling. And that's that's effectively what happened in Megamind when he took on the Bernard disguise, is that it gave him an out to do the things he actually wants to do, rather than what people expect him to do. And that's the same kind of... He didn't have
to worry about his reputation.
Exactly, and that's the same kind of thing that Metro Man was... that's the exact reason why Metro Man left, is because he was always doing what people expected him to do rather than what he wanted to do. For so long, he didn't even know what he wanted to do. He wanted to make music. Yeah. And in that aspect, like, reputation is a prison, basically.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to escape.
They don't touch on that in any of the follow-up films for Despicable Me, which is a real shame.
Oh, yeah. This Illumination had exactly one good movie, and then they realized that they could make money without trying.
Yeah. Which is a shame in hindsight, because I would love to see a Megamind 2.
Megamind is DreamWorks.
Yeah, DreamWorks. I would love to see Megamind 2, because DreamWorks didn't win the war, so they didn't get to make sequels.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. The thing I want to see from Illumination is a better Lorax that has Biggering in it.
Yeah, so it really is a show to everybody involved. I wrote down, it's a show to them. It's like wrestling.
Yeah.
I also love the design of the city. The city is so pristine looking.
Oh, yeah.
And then you get through the streets and you realize there's so much trash everywhere.
It does a really good job of, like, showing you how the city... Basically, every aspect of this is showing things as... in the way that people want it to be presented, and then showing them as they actually are. And that duality is the core theme, one of the core themes of it. Like, for example, with Hal, well, with the city, we see the beautiful part first with the the rally that Metro Man is having to unveil the Metro Man Museum, or the new statue at the Metro Man's Museum, or whatever it was. And then after that part's done, we see the actual gross parts of the city. And another example is with Hal. We see him as just an awkward dork of a cameraman, and then later we see him as a genuinely terrible and dangerous person.
He already had hints of that earlier.
Yeah, but like the hints earlier seemed like they were more played for laughs. Because before the whole big twist, his character really does seem like it's played for laughs until it's not. And when it's not, that's when it gets terrifying.
So Megamind does not realize that Hal's character, he's completely deaf to who Hal is as a person. Which is interesting because in the scene in which he meets Hal for the first time, Hal's like, "Oh, I fought 30 ninjas. I was about to come in and rescue you, etc., etc."
But then a bee flew up my nose.
We as an audience know that he's a big, fat, stinky liar.
Yeah.
But Megamind doesn't realize that, and he's like, "Oh, he's a brave one, isn't he?" And he thinks that's the quality that's the thing that keeps him from just ripping the powers out of him.
Oh, yeah.
So I just want to do one quote that I thought was great.
Yeah.
It's the scene in which he's pretending to torture Bernard.
I know exactly the quote you're talking about.
And he's like, "Oh, you know the drill." "Oh no, the drill."
Oh, I thought you were gonna be the part about where he's like, "Oh no, I can't handle his handsome features."
Fair enough.
I didn't write down the exact quote of that. I just wrote down, funny dialogue when he fights himself.
Yeah, funny dialogue when he's, as I said, oh, you know the drill. Oh no, the drill. That entire thing, like the dynamic of taking something you're familiar with, like dialogue like that, and then making it funny or twisting it in some way, is present throughout the entire film.
Oh, absolutely. The best scene is when he's doing it with Metro Man. Because, you know, the whole evil is a dish best served cold until
Revenge is a dish best served cold.
Until you microwave it in the microwave of villainy, but then the warranty's out.
Yeah. Great back and forth. Great dialogue. That leads into like the finale where you legitimately believe Metro Man is back because Megamind knows his one-liners.
Oh yeah, honestly, I'm not convinced that Megamind doesn't write his banter while anticipating what Metro Man's response is called. Because Mega Man absolutely seems like the kind who would write his dialogue in advance, try to guess what Metro Man would respond with, so that he would have a quip right there. I could easily see him practicing it in the mirror, because that's the kind of character that Mega Man is. Megamind.
Megamind. You just said Mega Man. Oh, that's going to be the issue that this entire thing is.
I know. Yeah.
Especially with Titan, and he spells it Titan.
Yeah.
Like tightening your belt, but it's Titan like in the monster.
Yeah.
And it's played to a joke that, Hal doesn't know which one it is, but it's like, which one is it really?
Well, it goes by both at various points in the movies, especially in the subtitles. Because in the subtitles, when it's like, in the subtitles early on, it's like when Megamind is saying it, it's spelled Titan, like, Titan, the
monster.
Yeah, the monsters that gave birth to the Greek gods. But then when Hal says it, it's Titan, as in like tightening your clothes.
Oh, that's something I just realized. Titan is a monster.
Yeah.
Why would you name your hero after a monster? Duh.
And also the big fiery design may have been a clue that it probably wasn't a good idea.
Yeah, probably. To be fair, Megamind is a villain. He doesn't get these things. He would look at something like Titan and be like, yes, like the great mythical monsters who fought gods.
Yes.
He'd think of that and be like, yes, this is a good name for my hero.
And he would make the thing like, yes, the tea burns like passion, and the rest of the suit is white like good, and it the red and white contrast beautifully with my black and blue. Yeah, I think that Titan is a very out of all the superhero movies and super villains, even though Titan isn't super, he is one of the most terrifying villains because we all know someone like him, someone who is a nice guy TM, the kind of guy who thinks that like women are just like a gumball machine where you put in niceness coins, and out comes commitment, and that's not how it works. It's not nice, it's manipulative.
There's a great scene early on. It's when Metro Man is dead and everybody's mourning.
Yeah, he wears the game
I'm doing a party at my place. Well, first off, why the fuck would you do a party when everybody's mourning? I mean, it's not like the Queen of England is dead.
Well, no, there is no Queen of England.
There is no Queen of England.
There's no Tooth Fairy, there's no Easter Bunny, and there is no Queen of England.
Yes. And then he's like, girls don't like bouncy councils. They like clowns. He doesn't think of it as Roxanne as like a specific individual. He thinks of her as like, I do this to get this to get that.
Yeah, it's
he
like
even has like a whole speech at the end of the the end of the movie where he's like,
I have powers. I saved you. You're supposed to date me.
There's even a whole thing where he goes and says something along the lines of, "You don't know me. We barely communicate." He doesn't realize that's exactly the same boat he's in.
Yeah.
He never communicated with her. He never saw her as a person. He always wanted... He never thought of her that way. But he doesn't get it because he's so self-absorbed.
Yeah.
So like, I'm the good guy. I've done the right thing. Why am I not the one she adores?
Yeah. I think one of the most terrifying things is when he... when he's doing the training for the powers training and he learns how to do the X-ray vision, the first thing he does is look through several buildings so he can spy on Roxanne. And that is so creepy and so gross, and that is why he is one of the most terrifying villains.
There is he also has no idea of theatrics. Like, he's reading a book on like the greatest supervillains of all times, but he doesn't get theatrics at all, which is part of being a villain.
Being a supervillain.
Yeah, or just a supervillain.
Yeah. And villains are a dime a dozen, but supervillains, it's the presentation, it's the theatrics.
Yeah, he doesn't get theatrics. He has some of that, but he doesn't understand the theatrics. There's a great bit where Megamind it really is a show to Megamind, because he's doing the whole thing where he's prepared for the battle with Titan, and he's marching around, he's doing stuff, and he's sitting in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
Time ticks by, a crowd shows up just to watch,
and then they leave.
And then they leave. The crowd leaves.
Hours pass because the sun. I by the way, I am a big fan of that trope of like, to show how much time is passing, they show the sun in various places in the sky.
That's always a nice touch.
It is.
So it really does show pretty quickly that Megamind is sort of like a presenter. He's hyped himself up. He's prepared for the battle. He was even hyping up Titan, like, this hero named Titan.
Maybe he will be a fine opponent or whatever.
And then he doesn't show up.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is so embarrassing. He's not thinking about like, this isn't going as planned. He's thinking about it like reputation. Like, how embarrassing must he look? How non-threatening must he look now that he's got shown up by the person he was just hyping up?
Yeah. And that is like, the most iconic line is the line we started this review with. It is the most iconic line in the movie is, what is the difference between a villain and a supervillain? Presentation. And that is like one of the core aspects of not just Megamind's personality, but the entire charm of the movie. Because like another great example is when he's doing the fencing using light poles with Titan, and he's trying to have witty banter, and then Titan's is like, "Rah!" And Megamind's just like, okay, I don't know how to work with that.
Yeah.
And
because he's not giving him anything to work off of.
Yeah, like Titan, you took improv classes at one point, right?
I'm not good at improv. I will say that right now.
I know, but you understand that, you understand the concept of yes and, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm aware of it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what Megamind tries. That's pretty much how Megamind and Metro Man interacted, but with Titan's just a flat no, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, one of the worst things to do in improv is to say no.
I mean, you can't say no in improv. Typically, it's ill-advised, I'd argue, but you can't say no if the other person throws you a curveball that leads somewhere uncomfortable, or you just don't know how to respond without like saying something like really shitty.
Yeah.
Saying no isn't bad.
Limiting it to witty banter.
Yes.
Limiting it to witty banter, just like flat out denying the witty banter. Yeah, it's there's a lot about Mega Man that desperately needs Megamind. Oh my god! Look, they're both blue.
You went silent for a moment, so I wasn't sure if you realized you'd said Mega Man or not.
No, they're both blue. But yeah, I'm not sure what else to say without touching up on points that we've already made, because we've pretty much talked about all the main cast, and
we have not talked about Megamind that much.
I mean, well,
shockingly, we haven't really talked about. We talked about the characters related to him, but we haven't talked about him much.
I mean, we did talk about like how he perceives his role in the universe, or rather the role that was given to him, and
yeah, but what about his the people who raised him? What about like his upbringing?
Oh yeah, that's another theme of this movie, is nature versus nurture, because Megamind was raised by criminals in prison, who taught him some really good morals, like don't trust the cops. Yeah, no.
You know you can't trust the cops when you see videos by lawyers wearing like fancy big ass rings, and they say don't trust the cops.
Yeah. So but yeah, Megamind had an upbringing with that he seemed to receive more attention from the closest people around him than Metro Man did, based on the few scenes we have. But he was also shunned by the kids for, being blue, and also because his inventions don't always work out as intended 100% of the time, which ended up causing some
incidences.
Yeah, some incidents. And it was when Metro Man put him in the corner, not the teacher, Metro Man, that he decided that if the world is going to treat him like a villain, then that is the role he is going to play.
Yeah. It's all about like expectations, roles, and people treat each other.
Yeah. We can only wonder what Megamind would have turned out if, if kids weren't assholes.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Because, let's be frank, kids are assholes.
They can definitely be that.
Yeah. They know exactly what to say to, like, they're able to pinpoint the exact thing you're the most self-conscious about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Megamind's upbringing was basically pretty much shunned from the start by everyone except the prisoners. And the prisoners themselves, it makes sense that they wouldn't shun him because they also are shunned by society. What with being prisoners and all.
How many of them do you think were in there for like trumped up petty charges?
Probably a decent chunk of them.
J.K. Simmons is the police warden.
Yes.
Is absolutely corrupt.
Well, obviously, he stole Megamind's watch.
Yeah, that was a gift from Metro Man.
Yeah, it was a gift from Metro Man, and he stole it.
What does that say about him? Oh.
Says that he's a corrupt... He's basically the warden from Shawshank.
Of course.
But yeah, no, J.K. Simmons is fantastic. Anytime there's an animated character with a mustache, cast J.K. Simmons. He plays mustachioed animated characters fantastically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Try to name a role that didn't have some sort of facial hair.
I think it's just because he had facial hair.
Well, yeah, but also he's really good at it.
Fair enough.
So yeah, Megamind's character arc is about learning like what it is he wants without the expectations of others, as well as like realizing that all this villainy is just for show so that he can get attention, and coming to terms with that, and being able to and finally being a hero and getting the attention he wanted without being shunned.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good character arc for him.
Indeed.
Yeah. So, anything else to say?
Let me look through my notes real quick. Giddy for fights. Really good framing. Yeah. The movie is really good at framing its action scenes.
Oh yeah, the fight choreography is amazing. DreamWorks is always really good at fight choreography.
Ever since Kung Fu Panda, they got much better.
I think Megamind came out before Kung Fu Panda, didn't it?
No, Kung Fu Panda is 2008, I believe.
Yeah, wasn't this 2000?
This is 2010.
It was 2010?
I'm pretty sure.
Let's see. When did it come out? Yeah, 2010.
Yeah, Kung Fu Panda was 2008.
Wild. So yeah.
Yeah.
Ever since Kung Fu Panda, then yeah.
They really upped their effort on that.
Oh yeah, and like, not just the choreography, but also the set pieces. Like, especially in the climax with all the drones flying around.
The scene where Hal tosses the tower.
Oh yeah, God.
That's so good, and they're playing like "Welcome to the Jungle," right? Welcome to the jungle. Da, 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 da.
No, it's Back in Black, isn't it?
No. Back in Black is plays during a different scene. They play "Welcome to the Jungle" when Hal is throwing the tower. And they have a lyric about like women. I don't recall the lyrics of "Welcome to the Jungle" that well, unfortunately.
We should rewatch the movie again.
Yeah, we should.
It's a good movie. It is such a good movie.
The whole scene where Titan is like, "This tower reminds me of the day a girl ruthlessly broke my heart, and I don't like reminders." Like
that actually is I mean, that's a one-liner. Like,
He's not. But he's still not good at one.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
It's a very clumsy one-liner, but it's still progress considering his last attempt was him just yelling in rage.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Hal is one of those villains that's just like so good at being bad,
Oh, absolutely.
being despisable. To be fair.
Yeah. Despicable, even.
Yes. Despicable Hal.
Yeah. But, yeah, Hal is... He's terrifying. He scares me.
He is legitimately a very spooky man, yeah.
Yeah. God, there's just so much. And one other thing. The entire movie is in media res. Well, because it starts with him with Megamind falling to his death and doing the whole. So I bet you want to know how we got here.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Which I think it's a fine enough framing device. And then we finally see, we finally get to that scene, and it is very heartfelt.
It is a very good scene.
Yeah. And also, this movie does set up and pay off very, very well. Because
it says something. It has a great joke where he zaps the cat with the dehydrator, and then like midway through, when everything's raining, the cat gets dehydrated.
Yeah.
Rehydrated.
Yeah, and the dehydrator comes back in to save the day in the end, because he's able to dehydrate himself as he's falling, turning himself into the cube, which lands in water safely and then rehydrates.
Very clever, very smart.
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of setup and payoff, because it's Chekhov's gun. Yeah, it's Chekhov's gun. And
you gotta fire the rehydrator at one point.
Yeah. And you know what movie did the setup and payoff really well? Sherlock Holmes 2 with the rebreather.
Well, I think that's all the time we got.
Yeah. We've talked about pretty much everything in depth. It's a really good movie. Go watch it so that you can understand what our incoherent rambling was about.
If you haven't seen Megamind, I am so sorry for you.
Yeah.
But watch our video, then watch whatever the heck Schaefer-Rillis probably put out this week on Megamind.
Did he put something out on Megamind?
I'm pretty sure he's already working on a video.
I think Overly Sarcastic did a villainous scene on Hal, didn't they?
I would not be surprised if they did.
I don't know. Either way, there's some really good... There's people who are much better at putting into words why this movie is good than us. So thank you for watching and listening to our ramblings. In the comments section... put down what your favorite scene in the movie was.
My favorite scene is I'm blue screening here. I have no idea.
There's too many.
There's too many. There's too many good ones. The scene in which Metro Man dies is really good. The scene with the Shul house is really good.
I think my favorite scene is the one where they find out that Metro Man is alive.
That is a very good one, yeah.
Yeah. So, check out some of the other stuff on the channel. There is Cult of the Lamb, which recently finished. There is also Destroy All Humans and Pokemon Platinum. All of those series it's Scraps that's playing. I'm coming close to being done with Nuts and Bolts, so go watch me suffer.
Finally.
Yes. Biddy, our friend Biddy, is playing Wind Waker, and that is also almost going to be coming to a close pretty soon. There's also 2 Dungeons & Dragons campaigns you can check out. One of them is Curse of Strahd, which is always fun. The other is a homebrew that I run called World of Tapir. So definitely check that out. There's going to be a heist pretty soon.
Oh, one more thing about the movie I just remembered.
Oh, yes?
Metro Man's base is hidden under the schoolhouse.
Oh, yeah.
that they throw it out, they mostly throw that out there, but it really does tell you this man's greatest memories of his life are from childhood.
God, that's rough. Yeah.
He doesn't have a Fortress of Solitude hidden in like an icy wasteland. He doesn't have like some great magnificent building. He's stuck in his past.
Yeah. But
That
yeah.
is so sad.
Yeah. So, with out of the way, there's no left to say, but good night, everybody.
And remember, it's all about presentation.
It is. And next week, I think we should watch a bad movie.